What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Rip the Net podcast, bringing you sports and culture. My name is Eric.
I'm Dre.
I'm Alexi.
And yeah, excited to be back for another episode. How are you guys feeling this week? We have officially kicked off the month of September, man. So how are y'all doing?
It's about that time, man. I'm fed up. Summer is cheeks. I need the fall to arrive. It's been cooling down a bit, maybe kind of cooked me, feeling a little under the weather right now, but I got my tea, man. We're ready. We're still hitting it. So let's go.
Yeah, man, sweater weather, man. You know what they say,
Exactly.
back in suburbia, that's what we look forward to. So I'm excited.
For sure, man. That's what's up, y'all. That's what's up. I don't know why y'all hate on summer too much. Honestly, we don't got to get into that. Fall fashion is cool, but besides that, ain't nothing else to look forward to for real. But I will say playoff baseball is around the corner, but
NBA season coming back. There's a lot for you specifically. I'd love there to be a lot of things to look forward to.
Yeah, but I like being outside. Anyways, cool, man.
Put a coat on, man.
Put a coat on. Well, it's crazy. But anyways, all right. I know there's a lot for us to talk about this episode, but one thing I do want to get into, man. We had a bit of a big weekend in the wrestling world. There was a SmackDown taping in Chicago on Friday. Brock Lesnar made a little appearance, but more importantly, for all the nostalgic folks out there, AJ Lee made her return, man. Dre, you sent me a little DM on Instagram when this happened, man. So what are your thoughts, man? What did you any nostalgia? What'd you feel?
Bro, the nostalgia was through the roof. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had chills. And I don't get chills for everyone. Honestly, like when Edge came back, I had chills. When Punk came back, I got chills. Like, these are people that I associate with like my core WWE fandom. And AJ Lee, out of all the divas that have existed or like that were present during my time watching, AJ Lee was my number one. I've expressed this to you in the past, how much I was a fan of AJ Lee, and especially in the time like right before I stopped watching. It was kind of when she left and Punk left that was kind of my transition out of watching WWE. So the fact that she came back, they always said like, oh no, she's not coming back, but they said the same thing about Punk. So the fact that Punk was able to come back and those ties were able to be mended, I thought it wasn't the craziest stretch ever that AJ Lee would be able to come back eventually if she was still interested in wrestling. That's like the main thing. And clearly we see that she actually is. She's still in amazing shape. And she came out, she's still hitting the same old. I think the thing that really gave me the chills was when the music hit. We'll talk about the music, but when she started doing the skipping, I was like, oh yeah, that's nostalgic. Came in the ring, like the
easy, bro. What you mean?
I just said it was nostalgic, bro. That's not a crazy term to say.
She's in great shape, man. And
she was. Not everyone who retires from wrestling, maintains that wrestling shape. I mean, I'm sure she probably was like putting in work to get back to wrestling shape, but when that music hit, me and all my homies, I say we like certain songs, but when that light it up, bro, it's still gonna hit. It's still, Alexi has no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna send you that song, bro. It hits when it hits, and it definitely hit. I definitely got chills, and I'm excited to see what she does. I'm not gonna act like I'm gonna be watching every show, but just the fact that she's back, Punk's back, it feels a little bit more like that core WWE that I've been missing. So I was excited for her. How about you?
Yeah, man. The thing about AJ is that she carried the company around a time where there wasn't a lot of female wrestlers really in the mix. So I think I'd put her up there with like a Trish Stratus or like a Mickie James. Like, there were only like not even a handful. It was maybe like a couple of, oh man, I don't want to be disrespectful, but competent female wrestlers
And that's
who were
facts,
like
though.
in the company around that time, like, and all respect to everybody, but there was only like the people who would only hold the belt were like a handful of people, and there was maybe like back then it was like maybe I wonder if Natalia was there, Naomi, but like I don't think Naomi was there. Point is, like, I feel like I associate AJ with Paige the way like I associate Trish Stratus with like a Mickey James or like a Lita, right? So you have occasionally you had those select few like female wrestlers who really were just carrying the division on their back, and AJ was just one of those people. And so it's really good to see that. My thing too is I'm just happy to see the ovation that she got. There's a lot of people who were very excited to have her back. The entire arena was chanting her name prior to her return, because everybody, I think that's my one like weird thing about this return, is that everybody kind of knew it was happening.
Yeah.
So it didn't really have that kind of like shock value. And they teased it, which like cool. You had a lot of people tune into that SmackDown. You had a lot of people excited to come watch. But I don't know. I feel like a surprise return at a pay-per-view or a PLE is what they call it now. Like that would have been super exciting for me. But that's just personal preference. Regardless, I'm happy to have her back. I'm interested to see in how long that contract is, because apparently she had retired because of like permanent damage to her spine or like her back, something like a severe back injury or something like that. So she was forced to retire early. So I'm interested in seeing how things shake up from here on out. But yeah, so happy to see her back. And that's just another power couple. They have a rivalry beginning with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. They are a wrestling power couple. This is just a brand new one, and I think it has a lot of nostalgia attached to it. So I'm interested to see where that storyline goes. But I want to see AJ in the main event scene, man. Like, have her shake up with one of the top stars in the company, now that you really do have a wide variety of female wrestlers who can really put on a quality match. So the Rhea Ripleys, the Tiffany Strattons, the Charlotte Flairs, man, I'm rooting for all of that. I want all the smoke.
Nah, fair. And I think I read somewhere that a lot of these current women's wrestlers have said like openly that they were inspired by AJ Lee and like what she did during her time, especially because the fact that she came out of nowhere. Like I remember she had like the whole thing with Daniel Bryan and even Dolph Ziggler. I think she was with Dolph at a point, but just like the fact that she was just meant to be, because there's a lot of divas back then, and maybe still, I don't keep up with the division really, but you would see it just like they're specifically there to be the hanger-on of the guy they're trying to push as just like maybe not a main eventer always, but someone they're trying to maybe get to that scene. And they're like, okay, this is like his girl, that's the eye candy. We're just gonna throw him. Maybe they'll have a bodyguard. I think he had a Big E with him at the time. I remember Dolph.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know a little something. But I remember at the time, like she just could not be constrained to that role, because she was just such a dynamic on-screen presence. Even like any of like her persona, that like they just kept having to make new segments centered around her, and she was even like the center of like guys fighting over her, and it was just, she just kind of broke through in a way I think even WWE wasn't expecting, because usually those people in that role, they don't really go that far. They just kind of remain the eye candy. Maybe they get fought over, but like not really because of them. It's more just because it's something to do. But for her, it was like, okay, she's kind of really the star of these segments, and she really, the acting even was solid. So yeah, shout out to her. I think she really revolutionized the game, and the fact that she's back now and she can kind of reap the rewards of the groundwork she laid like over a decade ago, that's dope to see. So I hope it's even if it's a short run, I hope it's an impactful run for sure.
Great point. For sure, man. I'm super excited, bro. This is good to see, man. It's always good to see things like this, and genuinely I am just like happy for her. And like it's cool to see somebody back, because I like you said, never thought I'd see her back again. So the fact that we this is, I think, goes back to our conversation about why wrestling can be so cool. Like sometimes you have wrestlers that are written off forever, and then that forever you realize isn't actually a definitive, like it's not a definitive no. And so, to see this again, I'm really like, I want to see just how far they carry it, and because it could just be like a final match or two, or like, there's been reports and rumors out that it could be like a longer term deal, which I hope it is, because I again do want to see her in the main event scene. Let's get AJ at WrestleMania, bro. Like, I think that'd be awesome, but we'll have to wait and see. And
the fact that Edge came back, I always say this, because the way they talked about Edge's injury when he left, I was like, it's literally impossible this guy ever comes back. So the fact that he was able to I know, like, medicine advanced over the years and we're able to do different surgeries maybe that they couldn't have done at the time, but the fact that he was able to recover to the point where he can get back in the ring, and now I'm like, bro, anything's possible. So that's definitely dope to see.
For sure. And she's in good company, man. There's Edge, there's Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels had like that legendary second half of his career after he had like a back injury. And he ended up being the best wrestler I've ever seen. So it's really cool, man. The things like this are really cool to see.
For sure.
Word. All right. Next up, we are going to completely shift gears and talk about the sneaker world. Alexi, do you want to take it away?
Yes, my specialty. So, we had a big drop recently. The first one we'll talk about is the Air Jordan 4 Cave Stone. Now, if this were another time and the economy were thriving, these would be sold out ASAP, I firmly believe. Because I love these shoes. I'm sure a lot of other people love these shoes. The big reason being they look a lot like the Travis Scott Friends and Family 4s, which, I mean, were like shown off probably back in 2018, 2019, way back. But either way, a brown Jordan is always a Jordan people are going to want and buy. But these have been sitting. I went to a Snipes yesterday, and they were sitting there, and they look good. And especially compared to just other sneakers that have been dropping, I think these are one of the better ones, especially for 4s. So it's just an interesting drop in that it really shows maybe how far Jordans have fallen, or the sneaker market in general, the whole hype beast thing. Like, I don't think people are into Jordans in the same way they were.
No, I thought Eric was gonna go next. But yeah, no, I think that's fair. And I think looking at the pair you sent, I was like, first of all, we did right before we recorded. I was like, this is the most Alexi colorway I've ever seen of 4s. But I think that says something, because I think at a point in time, it wasn't just Alexi. A lot of people would have been on a colorway like that. Like you mentioned, the Travis kind of wave of especially the brown. People all of a sudden, no one was messing with brown. All of a sudden, everyone was messing with brown,
Yep.
And I ain't talking about in the toilet. So it's crazy that... Come on, that was a bar.
Criminal.
But it really shows we're in 2025 when these are sitting. I think they're cool, and I definitely can see what you're saying, where if it was a different time, these would have been popping off. But hey, man, if this is still your vibe and you're interested, why not? You can get a pair quite easily.
I'm going to take the risk and wait for these to go on sale.
Honestly, I think it's non-zero chance.
I think there's a possibility there.
No, for sure. Any thoughts on these, Eric, or not?
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties, but we're good.
Gotcha.
Hopefully. Okay. Cool. I'll tell you why these are sitting, man. And I did not, unfortunately, I apologize, I did not hear Dre's take. But my problem with these 4s, man, tell me what the difference is between these 4s and the Imam Minier 4s that came out like a few years back. And that's my gripe with
Not
them.
even a few years, like maybe less than a year, low key, right?
Was it really that recent?
Or is that the white ones they dropped more recently?
I think so. I'm not fully sure, but like they just had like, let's see, a mom.
Oh yeah, the only difference there is like the midsole.
Yeah,
And
Crazy because
those also sold out like very quickly. Like people.
if you Google a Mama Near 4, it's literally the cave stone pops up, bro. So we're not looking
yeah,
good, bro.
yeah. And granted, it's not a bad looking sneaker is my thing. Like the cave stones look fine. They look good. I like them, you know? Like I would wear them.
I think I prefer them to the Amamaniers with that midsole.
Interesting.
Whereas
I kind of do too.
It's got that brown gray look. I kind of like that.
See. I think it is a little bit more of like a stone. Well, cave stone, it's in the name. But like it is a little bit more of like a solid color as opposed to like, I don't know exactly.
It's a lighter tone on the Amamaniers.
Yeah. And
yeah,
texture does look a little different. These are
also depends on the picture though, because now I'm seeing some pictures where they look the exact same.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fine sneaker. It's not a bad sneaker. It's not bad. But I just don't like the fact that it's way too similar to something I've already seen. And I know it's not exactly the same, but there was also these other like Jordan 4 like Travis Scott ripoffs that I can think back to. They were like this like brown and like,
oh yeah,
I remember I really wanted them.
They had like a weird texture to them.
I found the top haze.
Yeah, the taupe haze. Yeah. Those were like, yeah, that's like another version of the shoe.
Yeah.
But
like,
low key, this is the worst version, easily.
Yeah. When these came out, though, I was very high on them. I wanted a pair really badly.
Yep. Yeah. Goes to show, man. We're in crazy times if a brown shoe is sitting.
True.
Brown Jordan.
Real.
But that's not even the best drop that we have, though. We have the upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh! Air Max 95. I must say right off the market, if you were not fucking with Yu-Gi-Oh! As a child, in your teens, growing up, I don't want to see you going for these. I don't want to see you wearing these. I don't want to see you reselling these. Leave these to the fans, the people who mess with it. These are fire. They come in this awesome kind of blue colorway, inspired by Joey and Red Eyes Black Dragon. And in Japan only, they're dropping a black and white version of the shoe that is directly inspired by the manga, and it being in black and white. The packaging for these is sick. They all come with exclusive cards that have the shoe on them, which I'm sure with the card game as it is right now, with Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, that sort of thing, with so many people scalping, I'm kind of scared these are going to sell just, for people to get those cards or to make a buck off that. But these are genuinely like an Air Max 95. I really like it. We talked in a previous episode about the 95s and how they've been kind of seeing uptick and more colorways pushed out. I haven't seen one that's really spoken to me yet until these. Like, these are genuinely something, even if it wasn't a collab, like this is a colorway I would mess with. Curious what you guys think on these ones.
Well, you said for non-Yu-Gi-Oh fans to hold off on these, and man, you can have them, bro. I don't think I'm high on these at all. They're not ugly. Granted, like, this is why I like sneakers. I like sneakers because they can tell a story, because they have something that you can draw back to, and they're like, wow, like this tells a story. This is directly tied to one of the biggest television like franchises ever, like no hate on Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to watch it a little bit, but I wasn't like a big like enough fan to where I knew just about, like, I'm not, wasn't like an avid fan.
If you ain't have a dual disc, man, these ain't for you.
Yeah, I had some cards. I would watch the TV show a little bit, and it was cool, but I was never too crazy on it. But I'm also not crazy high on Air Max 95s to begin with. There's a select few colorways that I rock with, And I don't know, this to me doesn't call my attention, but I can see why somebody who was a fan of the show or a fan of the card game would want to go out and get a pair of these. So, you know, all power to you. That Japan pair does look pretty cool. I like it when they have like an exclusive drop in just one country, and you know, kind of adds to that exclusivity, which I always like to see. But yeah, these are, I don't hate these are just not for me. But you know, if I will agree that the packaging is really cool. I like the fact that they made it its own kind of thing, and it's not like oh, like I think about maybe like the Powerpuff Girl dunks. Like I believe those came in just very regular packaging and very regular boxes. This is cool to see. So this is different. So I rock with it. Just not for me.
Yeah, I think these are an example of like they're not phoning it in, and that's what I want to see from collabs. Like you mentioned with the Powerpuff Girl dunks, I never even heard about those. But the fact you said they came in a regular box, like, show me that you care. Show me that someone cares. Like someone put this together because they were like, okay, I actually see potential in this, and this is gonna be something cool. Maybe the person who came up with the idea was a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, maybe not. Maybe just some corporate person who's just a genius and understands marketing. Probably. But the fact that it has this packaging, it has an animated and a manga version, just for the viewers out there, you know, we into that. So the fact that they have that attention to detail, the animated pairs called Joey for like, you know, the English audience, and the manga pairs called Jonochi, which is like Joey's original Japanese character's name, and it had both the voice actor for both doing like a little promo for each shoe in each market. Like this is like attention to detail you only dream of for collab sneakers. I think that's super dope that they are going to those lengths, and I'm sure they're gonna reap the rewards. I'm sure these shoes are gonna pop off. Even among the Yu-Gi-Oh fans, but even maybe just general anime fans are like, okay, finally a collab we can get behind. I think especially in the Western market, Yu-Gi-Oh is one of those few shows that crossed over super early. So the fact that I think they're gonna hit nostalgia in a way they might not with a lot of other collabs, maybe with only like a Dragon Ball, Pokemon, like stuff like that. I think you're gonna have some competition in the cosplayers. I'm not gonna lie. I think the cosplayers might hit it. I'm not even lying. Like, especially Halloween coming up, like anime. I think there's New York Comic Con's coming up. I think Anime NYC just passed, but I think you might see a lot of people who are like, you know, I want to do a little Joey cosplay. Now they got the exact sneaker they need to put together. And the Joey cosplay is not too hard, man. Bro wasn't wearing his main fit isn't anything crazy, so. Well, it's hard, but it's not like hard to source something that looks like that. So, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of competition for these shoes. That Japanese pair, like Eric said, the main pair I like too, but that Japanese pair, you know, I'm a black, you know, monotone merchant. I ain't gonna lie, I might have to do a little trip out there to cop those, bro. They're fire. Those are
they're
fire.
clean.
I'm not about
to me, they just remind me too much of a regular 95. Like I respect the storytelling and I like them for that, but I also, you know, I fiend for blue. So blue pair just naturally gets my attention. One thing I want to bring up though is that if y'all remember, Adidas actually collabed with Yu-Gi-Oh! A couple years back. These put those shoes to shame, bro. Adidas was crazy because they just took some forms, I think Forum Lows or some other skate kind of silhouette, and slapped Dark Magician on the side, slapped a Blue Eyes White Dragon on the side, which can go hard in its own right, like with the right fit. But in terms of versatility and wearability, these knocked those out of the water. Those were cool in their own way. I think they came with like Exodia kind of pieces as well. Like
I'm looking at the
tags.
box. The box is cool for those.
The box was cool too, but I don't think Adidas was willing to invest in the execution as much. And I'm sure Nike probably pitched to Yu-Gi-Oh! We're like, hey, we can do a whole lot more than what those guys did. I genuinely, I hope this is like the first pair of maybe a continuous collaboration of some sorts. Like, I can only imagine if like, you know, they make a Blue Eyes pair of something, or Exodia pair of something. Like, now that the door is open.
Yeah, why not? I think the fact that they started with Joey, first of all, the fact that they started with Joey, to me, hey man, someone there knows ball, because Joey's my guy.
Yeah.
Like Joey's like, he's like, I think he's probably not the most popular character. Obviously, Yugi, Kaiba, whatever. But I think if you like Yu-Gi-Oh and you know Yu-Gi-Oh and you watch the show too, I think Joey's like, everyone low-key really likes Joey. Like Joey's like a super cool dude. And Red Eyes, like, even back when we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh in high school and stuff, like Red Eyes, I was a Red Eyes fiend. Like Red Eyes, that whole line is my thing, you know. So I think whoever decided, okay, we're gonna start it off, assuming it's gonna be a continued thing, with the Joey pair or a Joey like whole package. I think that was super interesting that they went with that, because it's not expected. I think what Adidas did,
but it's smart because he wears the shoes.
It makes way more sense. I think Adidas didn't have that like opportunity, because they're like,
they don't have that influence.
literally, nobody was wearing whatever shoe it was. So like, they're like, you know what, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, most popular cards. Let's just throw them in there, which is smart in its own way. Like, you got to do what you got to do. But the fact that Nike has an actual tie to the show, to the character, they're like, okay, Joey, let's do it. It makes a whole bunch of sense. Makes way more sense. And like you said, I really hope that this means more in the future, because if they're able to nail this like this, you know, maybe not spam it, because I'm sure maybe it'll get tiring after a while. But if they do every once in a while, they come out, okay, like volume 2, volume 3 of this, hit some cool characters, some cool collabs. I think there's a lot of potential. I think it says a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh too, that the two biggest sneaker brands both went to them for a collab. There's a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh's cultural pull. And I think Adidas also did a Dragon Ball collab a few years back. I remember seeing like some orange and blue sneakers, like or like a purple one too or something. So I remember Adidas doing that. So maybe, you know, maybe Nike be like, hey, we need to little dip off that chip too, you know. go do a little Dragon Ball collab. We will be on that as well. Nike, just steal everything they got. I like it.
Yeah, I do gotta say, like, I just looked up the Adidas pairs as a reference again. I didn't even know they did a Winged Dragon of Ra Superstar. That thing is disgusting.
I didn't know
it
that
is
either.
Disgusting, bro. Like, the other shoe is fine, but this is bad, bro. At least I'm seeing like in the kid sizes on Flight Club.
Oh,
but that is bad.
Oh, that's, what is this? Like, oh, there's so many poor design choices.
We'll maybe throw an image on screen so viewers can see.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was a kids only pair. I can see that for kids, but in general, that's just like a terrible design choice. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Nike, you have your mission. Do a little Egyptian gods collection or something, bro. We're cooking with gas.
That's actually crazy that Adidas didn't even think of that. Like,
they only did one of them.
Yeah.
Insane. Nike, you know,
potential is crazy, bro.
Especially because Yu-Gi-Oh has style. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna act like I like Pokemon. I was never, you know this, Alexia, I was never like the biggest into Pokemon as a kid. I was always like Team Yu-Gi-Oh type dude. But Pokemon has its appeal as well. But
they're both
realistically different. It's like a way more, I'm not trying to belittle it, because it's not the reason why I was Team Yu-Gi-Oh. But it is, it's a way more childish, cutesy kind of appeal, and that has its
You can
pull,
still have aura in there, but it's not like a dragon in Pokemon, like a Dragonite or a Dialga. They are not gonna compare to it, like the most simple dragon in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh just has the look. It has the look that I think it can cross over. Even, I know we said we're fans, you know, hopefully you get your luck. But I think even in general, I think the reason why it has so much potential, because Yu-Gi-Oh, it just has that look, which I think will just work. So
yeah, keep
it going. Because this is a massive bag that you guys are in for. I know Eric was just giggling there. We were talking about the dragons and the different stuff.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm really just trying to be respectful, man. I'm not in this. I'm not in this fandom, and you know, like I'm really just not trying to be disrespectful, man. But I appreciate all the input that you guys have. I was also looking at the pairs that you guys were referencing. I didn't think the superstars were that bad. I think the little I saw the little orange. I think what was worse was that orange Goku sneaker or whatever that was just.
The Adidas.
That was terrible. That made the
look
superstar look a lot better because that Goku, whatever. I don't even know what Adidas model that was, but that was terrible.
Oh, that ain't that bad. No,
that's awful. That's like.
No, I remember these now. Frieza, the purple and white.
Yeah, they had a Frieza one.
Yeah, like those are cool.
One. The Frieza ones
Goku's aren't bad. The Goku's aren't bad. I'll stand by
Goku's, I probably wouldn't wear them, but I don't hate them. The Frieza was definitely the best pair.
Neon orange.
I said I would not wear them, unless it was Halloween or something. But
everything else from that collection is hot garbage.
Yeah, the Frieza is definitely by far the best.
Yeah,
they had like the Cell ones are absolute dog. I don't know what the hell that is.
Those are awful. Those are awful.
The Super Saiyan Vegeta, I wouldn't wear them either, but it's not as bad. A lot of these are really bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like the Shenron, yeah, it's not looking good, Rev. But Kid Buu, oh my god, that's trash. But Adidas.
I forget Kid Buu was a character, not just man. And this is someone who wasn't. Y'all remember Kid Buu the rapper?
Unfortunately, yeah, the anime influence is deep. Unfortunately, and not always results in quality. And we can see that with that Adidas collab with Kid Buu the rapper. Some people they just, especially Adidas, it feels a little bit more like a cash grab. But Nike, we're seeing that it seems like a little more care and intention went into it. So hopefully they tap back in and we get a Dragon Ball collab. We need a little revamp because if only the Frieza pair is really hitting like that, we need a revamp for sure. So yeah, I'm excited for these anyway to wrap up the whole Yu-Gi-Oh! 95 segment. And also, just to mention, because you said this earlier and I forgot about it, 95s are fire, bro. I ain't with that. I ain't a fan of 95s in general. 95s are fire, but at each their own. I understand that. Maybe we got to do a tier list of like the Air Max, different types of Air Maxes. That'd be fun.
I think I'm just not big on Air Maxes, period. Like, I think the 95s are among the better Air Maxes, but I don't know. That's
well, there we go. Tier list got to happen now. It's got to happen. Or maybe a World Cup or something like that. Yeah.
So,
Surely.
Cool, man.
Last topic of the day. I said it last week, we got something we haven't done yet that we needs to get done. Official business on the cards. And now we're doing it. The Premier League predictions, 25-26 season. Transfer window is over. I put a little accent on that. I don't know why, but it's over. And it's time we get these predictions done. We
for
know
the
what
big
these
leagues.
Teams, yeah.
Because we got Onana out of here, man. Let's go.
Fair play. Yeah, you got saved with that one. I'll give you that. But yeah, now we finally see what these squads are looking like, rather other than maybe some outgoing to some smaller leagues. But we're seeing now it's up to the tactics, it's up to the coaches, up to the players. Now you just got to perform. You got to gel. No more people to come in to save you. Let's see what it's looking like. So here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do the entire table. Now, last year when we did this, we did a mid-season. We did like our top 6. We're doing the entire table, and we're all gonna have to agree. This is gonna be the collective rip the net Premier League prediction table. So no more each individual predictions. We're gonna have to debate majority rules. It is what it is. And we're doing champions, then second to fourth Champions League places, Europa League places, Conference League, then the mid-table 8th to 12th, then the maybe relegation threatened 13th to 17th, bottom of the table, and then looking at relegation sides, who's going down next season. But let's start it off. This is in alphabetical order, so who's gonna hit them? Bournemouth. How are we feeling? And we can move it around, but nothing's set in stone. Once we put some stuff in, we'll see how it's looking.
Bournemouth. I'm just feeling mid-table.
I see that. For me, they're either 8 to 12. I can't see them 13 to 17, or I think we put them 8 to 12. I could see a sneaky 7. But they did lose a lot of players, so 8 to 12 I think is safe for now.
I think for now I would agree.
Now, big one.
I'll interrupt you if I disagree, by the way.
Yeah. Let us know. Big one, the Arsenal. How are we feeling about this? Is the massive one, or maybe let's do it like this.
Top 6 at the end.
Yeah, let's do a little suspense. Let's go bottom to top. So I know we already put Bournemouth in, but what are we feeling for relegation places? Any team
Wolves.
that we feel like Wolves? Okay, put them in there. We could put a bunch in and we could discuss. Wolves. Yeah. I think Burnley, Sunderland, throw them in there. Burnley, throw them in there. Sunderland second to last, and then Leeds, throw them in there. And honestly, West Ham, throw them in there. And then we'll bump a couple up. I think these are really your relegation candidates for the season. Yeah. Obviously, you have the 3 teams that came up: Burnley, Sunderland, Leeds. Usually, if we're going by track record, the same teams have been going back down in recent years. It hasn't been looking good for these promoted teams. But if we're looking at the transfer windows, Sunderland has impressed me. They bought a lot of players. They brought someone like Granit Xhaka in, who's a Premier League proven player, a captain, a leader. He came in, they immediately gave him the armband, which I think says a lot about their ambitions. So if anything, out of the promoted side, Sunderland looked the most exciting to me. Leeds, I ain't gonna lie, it's looking spooky. Burnley, they kept the most clean sheets in the championship last year, but they lost their keeper to City to go sit on the bench, which is crazy. So I don't know, but I think this year it's tough. It's tough to predict someone like bridging that gap because the gap has been so strong. But Wolves and West Ham just don't move me, bro. Like neither of them move me. I think it's damn near impossible that both of them go down. But I think it's very possible this year one of them goes down.
Yeah. I mean, based off of the performances I've seen in the transfers you talked about, I do feel like either Burnley or Sunderland could get that bump up to 13th to 17th. But like you said, Wolves, especially Wolves, it's not looking good, bruv.
Yeah. I'm willing to move up Sunderland. I think we should also have a little risk, like, not just put the same teams going back down. I'm willing to move up Sunderland and West Ham.
Okay.
And then see those and we can reorder too, just to put them in the exact positions. But I think how are you feeling about Wolves? I think
Burnley's going to be 18th. Personally.
Wolves, you that down on Wolves.
Yeah,
they are trash. So I'm not surprised. they are trash. Anything with Leeds bottom? That wouldn't surprise me. That would not surprise me. I can't see Wolves being bottom.
Yeah,
just it just would be crazy. Like
close to.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that for now. But I like Sunderland ahead of West Ham. I think I like their project. West Ham, honestly, if we're talking squads, West Ham should be not even close to these teams, but they just don't look good on the pitch. They just don't look good at all. And they have good players, but I don't know. It's not moving me.
And just as a reference point, since we already got 6 teams here, and look at the current standings, how things are looking.
Fulham,
Wolves. Yeah, Fulham is down there. Villa. Burnley and Leeds are surprisingly. I mean, Leeds is ahead of Man City. So
yeah, funny.
And Sunderland 6th place, man. So, but early in the season, we won't have a real table we can rely on for like another month or month and a half at least.
Yeah,
to get a real idea of where people are placed.
If we're talking 13th to 17th, we have 2 in there now, so we need to throw a couple more in there. But we're talking candidates to be in this area. I think a team I forgot. for 18th to 20th. Brentford.
Well, I
You
was
need to
gonna say Brentford or Fulham. Those
You need to
two,
get
I
in there.
think.
Get in there. Yeah, throw them up. Throw them up. Yeah. For me, Fulham, they got some signings on deadline day. The whole window, they didn't sign anyone. I think deadline day, they signed this guy named Kevin. He's like just this, like one of them one name Brazilian dudes. He's like just some
Bro, that sounds
Brazilian.
like a joke from like Deadpool or something.
Literally.
Like-
it does not sound real. They literally just signed. Apparently, he's some crazy talent. Some Brazilian dude named Kevin. I don't know where that came from, but they signed him on
That's
deadline
what they
day.
said about Endrick, bro.
Hey man, he still could be. He still could be. He still could be. He'd go out on loan or something. But yeah, I think they signed someone else. I forget who else they signed. But Fulham, at least to me, they're like the definition of like a mid-table side usually. I think a lot of teams around them did a lot more interesting business, which might cause them to drop. But I think if we put them 13 to 17, I think they're on the higher end of 13 to 17.
So maybe next to Sunderland.
Yeah, probably ahead of Sunderland, but Sunderland are exciting right now. But that's just how I'm feeling. Let me know if you disagree.
Nah, I can trust your guidance on that. Eric, what are you thinking so far with this setup?
Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't think anything that y'all have said is beyond. I don't know. This looks right, but I will say I'm also not super tapped into the bottom table.
Yeah,
the
fair.
bottom half.
Fair
of the
enough.
table. Not a lot I can contribute on this side, but
yeah,
this looks right.
I think to be fair, it's so volatile that like even with knowledge, I'm not too super tapped in on these teams anyway. But even with some knowledge on the teams, it really doesn't end up meaning much. Like the end of the season,
you can be relegated still, man.
Literally.
We don't know.
No one predicted Man U to be in this 13 to 17 area last year, so really it could be anything.
True.
But I think the fact that I'm looking at the rest of these teams below and none of them scream to me 13 to 17 really shows the quality in the Prem right now, because we need one more for this category. I don't know who to put in there. It's tough. I think Bournemouth is definitely in the category above, so I don't want to drop them. Maybe
like Crystal
Brighton.
Palace.
I like Brighton. I like Palace. The fact that Palace kept Guehi, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
The fact they lost Eze, of course, but the fact that they kept him, they're so well coached. If they're 13th, I think if we put them in there, they're the top of that bracket for sure.
I think they're more in an 8th to 12th.
Yeah, I could see them being 12th, 11th, 12th, like in that area. But I like Brighton just as much, if not more. So throw them up to 8 to 12 as well. And then, let's put the teams in there, and then we can see who drops. So I think Everton in that area.
Everton.
Honestly,
maybe there. Maybe they're 13.
Honestly, Everton, they do have the most to prove out of those teams. I think Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace have proved to be mid-table sides in previous years. Everton have always been like kind of straggling at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I can see a little 13th or something, but they did some exciting business. Grealish, of course, through the door. David Moyes is a good manager. And I mean, maybe you won't think so for United, but for Everton at least, he is an important manager for them. So I think if I was doing it personally, I'm excited by Everton, but I think generally that's a safer place for them. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a team you got to throw in 8 to 12 that you could be having this conversation. It's United. I'm not gonna lie, you got to have this conversation. I know. We're talking about some big teams now. You know, you can always make the argument to go higher. But I think for now, you have to throw them in there just to start having these discussions.
I'm gonna argue with you on this. I think 7th.
We'll throw them 8 to 12, and then we'll promote a team to 7th later. This guy.
Crazy.
I'm trying to be objective. Like I know
I am too.
I am majority rules, but I think if we're talking about, I'm not saying they're going to stay there, because I think you still have to consider like a Forest. Could throw them in there as well. Villa. You can
Villa.
throw them in there as well, and then we can bump some of these teams up. But I think these are the teams we're talking about scrapping. Even Spurs, and even though I think personally Spurs are going to finish higher, I think these are the teams in that conversation. The 8 to 12 is like that whole mid-table. 7th is only one team going in there, so I don't know. Do you feel like any team? I think this is the best way to do it. Do you think any of the teams? Obviously, we know the biggest teams down there probably aren't. But do you think any of the teams down there, like say, throw Forest up, throw Villa up, throw Spurs
like
up?
Me personally, I think Forest would be 8th, United 7th. That's what I see.
Okay.
And
then Spurs and Villa finishing ahead of United.
And then I see, yeah.
Okay, sure. I can see
Where
that.
do y'all have Newcastle?
Newcastle,
you could argue too.
I think the fact they lost Isak, especially, like, I think they're in that 5th to 6th.
Yeah.
placement.
Okay.
For me, Newcastle is like, out of all these teams, they're probably the best coached team, which I think is going to speak a lot to them. I think it really depends on how this Waltemata Vissa thing pans out. But Vissa's proven. Apparently, Vissa and Isak had the same amount of non-penalty goals last year. So, like, fair enough, bro, because he didn't take pens for Brentford. So, Premier League proven player. I think it's a little under the radar that the fact that he's like potentially even their second choice striker behind this new 80 million kid. I think Newcastle 5th to 6th is more likely. I'm trying to look at the numbers that we have here now, because 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. We need one more in that 8 to 12 category.
I'm looking at the table right now too for reference. Newcastle down at 17th.
Yeah. I think Isak honestly screwed them over, bro. If they had a starting striker for the first beginning of the season, they performed well. They just no one there to finish the chances. Which could have ramifications at the end of the season. You could be like, damn, those first few games, if they just had a striker, maybe that would have been the difference maker. Because last year it came down to the last day, those spots. So that's a bit tough. But personally, so throw Villa and Spurs up into 7th, just so we can talk those teams. One has to drop to 8 to 12, and one has to move up to 5th to 6th. And I think these are the 3 teams like in that area.
I think Villa has to drop. Freedom Fighter Sancho is not going to carry them to.
Okay, well, here's the debate.
4.
Can we agree? I think Spurs moves up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's move Spurs up for now.
I agree.
And the debate is Villa and United.
Villa.
Now, here's the thing. We said majority rules, so I'm going to say right now, I know I'm going to lose this argument. But just to make the case for Villa, I think if we're talking about settled squads, they didn't do too much crazy business. They got some guys in on loan. But I think a lot of their core squad's still there. They maintained Watkins. They maintained Morgan Rogers, who's one of the most exciting attacking midfielders / left wingers in the league last year. They maintained a lot of the squad. They kept Emi Martinez, I believe, still, which a lot of people thought he was heading out, which I think that's massive for them too. They still are solid. They're stable. They have one of the better coaches in the league. I think the only thing, United have a lot of new players that need to gel. That makes me a little hesitant. Now, the thing I will give in United's favor, and this is no glaze because I know you're about to glaze, but in United's favor, they only have one game a week. That's the whole thing. One game a week, whatever. Especially since you're out of the Carabao Cup to Grimsby Town. So,
we don't have to talk about that.
Not many other competitions to worry about. So I can see the argument there. But here's my thing with United, which makes it such a tough thing to predict. Right now we're doing it. Ruben Amorim's still in the job. And however you feel about him probably determines how you place it. But we also have to take into the possibility that we could be seeing a new manager come in at some point this season. This is not impossible. It's not impossible.
We're not going to discuss this as a possibility.
It's not impossible. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you,
if we sack Amorim,
If you look
I
at your
won't be
upcoming,
supporting that club anymore, bro. I
if you
can't
look
do
at your upcoming run of games, it's not impossible. I honestly think if they lost a Burnley game, it was wraps, bro.
it.
It was wraps. I think if you look at your upcoming fixtures, it's not impossible that Ruben Amorim's gone in November, bro. Like, I'm
I
not gonna lie to
disagree.
you. I'm not
I
gonna lie to you.
disagree. I disagree.
But here's the funny part. My prediction, if you keep Amorim, is lower than if you sack him. I think if you get a new manager in, I would predict you guys higher. I'm not even gonna lie to you,
No.
bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So if you want to do this based on keeping Amorim, I think they drop 8 to 12. I'm
No.
keeping it a stack.
No.
But
Dude,
like we
I
said,
have
majority
faith.
rules. So
I have faith in the team, and I have faith in the January transfer window. We get some midfielders.
that too.
and
That is something to take. Into
I
account.
think that could prove to be a game changer for the season alone. Yeah, and just off the pure glaze, they got to be seventh
I
in
saw
my
that.
book.
I saw that coming. How do you feel, Eric? You're the tiebreaker, but you tend to be
Honestly,
pessimistic at times.
Honestly, I don't think I have faith in Man U, man. I don't know, bro. Like, there's nothing, at least on like my end, like there's nothing that I've seen that has convinced me to think that this season will be really any better than last.
Nothing. The performance against Arsenal. Come
You
on,
lost. You lost.
I
Come
don't know,
on.
bro. Like,
Ref
am
was
I wild for
trash.
thinking that? Am I wild for thinking that?
I think you're spot on. The fact that you didn't get a midfielder, I think, is the biggest indictment on the club right now. Honestly,
I would say, man, set your expectations low, and if they overperform, you're satisfied with the season.
All I'm saying at the end of the season, I'm gonna say I was right. If they're above 8,
Man, you get to claim that. You do get to claim that.
I will
think,
claim that.
Here's the thing: if you put them 8 to 12, you got a little wiggle room. So, but I think top of 8 to 12 is fair, though. I think that is fair. And even getting 8th, based on where you finished last season, you take those, bro. Like, we're talking about 7 to 8. That's not a big difference, and you honestly take those. So 5th to 6. Are we?
I'm trying to make it sound better. Shut the fuck up. Let's move on.
You're finishing 15th.
Man City.
How are you feeling? Definitely 2nd to 4th.
Yeah.
I think 4th.
Okay, throw them up there. We can talk about the order. So, first of all, 5th to 6th, we liking
5th to 6th. I actually would put Tottenham in 5th.
I agree. I honestly agree.
And I think I'm also not opposed to even moving them up and having City 5th.
Okay, we can debate that. I can see where you're coming from. I'm not mad at that, but okay, we'll talk about that. I think Newcastle to Spurs, though, I think that really depends. Does this Voltamata kid come and hit the ground running?
Yeah.
They might finish 5th. If it takes a little while, maybe Vissa. Even that's the thing with the Vissa, having Vissa there too. They really have the insurance. So, but yeah, I like Spurs 5th. Okay, let's throw Chelsea 2nd to 4th. I think that's really the conversation, and then we can talk about the other two later. Chelsea, City, Spurs. Let's talk about them. Is there anyone you feel out of those three is like guaranteed 2nd to 4th?
Chelsea, for sure.
I agree.
City is the one I'm iffy on because they've had a rocky start that no one is really talking about, and
it's a little spooky.
Some players have left. Some have also come in, but they've got the injuries as well. Cherky. It's like I don't know how Pep's tactics are gonna hold up this season, man.
I have City 3rd, personally.
3rd, okay. Well, I think we might end up averaging 4th because I think 4th, and Alexis seems like you're leaning 5th, and Eric's leaning 3rd. I think City. It's a rough start. I think honestly though, the quality in the squad, I would be surprised if they drop. Even last year when they won 1 game in 13 at a point in time, they still somehow end up scraping 3rd, which speaks a lot to the quality. I think it really depends. It kind of all hinges. Does Rodri come back at the level? I think he's coming back. He's a little slow to come back. Even playing games now, he doesn't look 100%. He looks like maybe even like 80% Rodri, which is still good player. But if Rodri can get back to Ballon d'Or levels, then I think that fills a lot of holes in City's team. The thing with City though, their defense is not moving me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like that lineup, you're playing like Kushyanov, Stones or Stones, Diaz, freaking Mateus Nunes is right back. Like I don't know. Like Vardio though still has to come back. That's a big one. I think if Vardio comes back, that's massive. If you have Vardio, Ruben Diaz, then you're talking a little bit more. That's a little more convincing. But that right back got to be sorted, man. Rico Lewis doesn't move me. Mateus Nunes doesn't move me. But fourth, I think is still they have enough quality. I think Holland alone could probably scrape you a fourth in this league. Foden,
that's a fair point.
Foden, you're on fraud watch, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were about to gas him. I was
No,
like,
hell no. I still think Foden robbed Cole Palmer of the PFA Player of the Year 2 years ago, bro. And it's been proven to this day. Foden still hasn't shown anything near that level again, bro. That was the fluke season. Now it's looking like all these trash seasons. I shouldn't say all, because he still won the Premier League 4 years in a row. But now this level is looking like his level. Like since the Euros, this dude's been a shadow of himself. He's been absolute cheeks. So I'm feeling like City fourth. I'm liking City fourth.
I will agree there then. And
so then we can agree Chelsea third.
Sorry.
Yeah, Chelsea third.
I think Chelsea second.
Interesting.
I don't think Arsenal is gonna have it this season.
I think they will have Arsenal too.
You think Arsenal will be second?
Arsenal at number two. Yeah, second.
I think they're going to be in third. You agree with Eric? All right.
Well, mainly because I'm like Eric in the sense of put my expectations low. I don't have enough faith in Chelsea to put them second, which feels a little. Don't put Liverpool up yet. We got a conversation to have, but I think Chelsea, exciting business, but also some iffy business. And I think Chelsea's the team that keeps buying these young players, hoping they hit. And some have hit. Like some have definitely hit. And some, they're on their way out. Which is what it is. And they keep buying a lot of project players. And I think the good thing is we have brought so much depth that, like, hopefully one of Garnacho or Gittins works. Hopefully one of Esteval, Pedro Neto has been good, honestly, for the last 6 months. The dude's actually been pretty solid. So I think the narrative around him is a little fake. Club World Cup, he's arguably their best player. But Palmer injured right now. Delap injured right now. João Pedro is the most exciting thing about this team. Caicedo, I think, still arguably the best defensive midfielder in the league, bar like a fully fit Rodri. Cucurella, arguably best left back in the league. Colwill out for the season though, which is a bit spooky. I don't know. I think if we had a fully fit squad, I could see the push for second. But right now, I'm a little cautious. I'm a little cautious that even City could come out of nowhere and still pass us up. But I think third is a good balance spot. If I'm being pessimistic, But let's hear what are you down on about Arsenal that makes you think a third is possible?
I think I'm down on just their squad this season and how I've seen them play in these games. Like the fact that their performances, at least in my eyes, they haven't proven to be like title contenders. And that's what you have to prove to even come close to the title, to come second. And the fact I'm not seeing what I would expect for that, especially with the likes of Gyökeres and just their offensive play. We've talked about it before. Just incredibly boring, set piece driven, like no real creativity. I think that stuff will be needed to be a champion, and I think Liverpool is well equipped in that regard in many areas to be able to get that. And I think Chelsea is also more equipped in some ways, albeit, less certainty for sure about how players will work out, but I see the potential more on the Chelsea side.
I agree. Potential-wise, Chelsea in the next few years, I think we're sneaky, like dark horse type team to really put a title challenge in the next couple of years. Maybe Liverpool have extended the gap so much, I don't know, but I agree in terms of potential, but I think for this season, Arsenal have more proven Premier League quality players. I'm very skeptical about these like Bundesliga dudes. Like Gittins coming in, I hope he's great, but like I've been burned by Timo Werner in the past, bro. Like these Bundesliga dudes that aren't always aren't always those guys, you know. Even Kai Havertz for us, and that's funny because they both won as a Champions League, but still, that was really the N'Golo Kante show. But even Kai Havertz for us, you know, obviously doing things at Arsenal now, but these Bundesliga dudes don't move me too much. The thing about Arsenal, and I guess we could talk, like you kind of hinted at it with Liverpool going first, is they have some question marks in terms of like Martin Odegaard. Bro, you're on fraud watch too, bro. I'm not gonna lie, you're on fraud watch too. The De Bruyne comparisons are done. We're not having those conversations anymore, bro. It's been a few years since you've really been at that level. I know last year he was injured for the beginning of the season, but even when he came back, maybe it's lingering effects of the injury. I don't know, but he's just not moving me. And now that they got Eze coming in, I think we could see a whole new Arsenal, especially if, you know, and it's tough to say because I know he's their captain, but if Odegaard gets dropped for Eze, we could see Arsenal go from a team who's playing like 2 8s and a 6 to playing a 10 finally, like a proper creative midfielder in Eze. And I think if they bring in, if he actually gets like good solid minutes, I know he might start on the left or something, but if he gets good solid minutes in those areas, then that might unlock a Gyökeres, that might unlock a Saka to not have all the creative responsibility. The thing about Arsenal that even I think could push them to challenge Liverpool is that defense is ridiculous, and the depth. Like I think Saliba, Gabriel is the best center back pairing arguably in Europe right now. Like I think I'd be hard pressed to think of another one that's as good. People could say Van Dijk, Konate. I think Van Dijk's probably the best of all of them, but Konate, I ain't gonna lie, you're not moving me right now, bro. Bro's still dreaming about that move to Madrid. And then we're talking about Ben White, Urian Timber on one side. They have Lewis Skelly, Calafiori. They just brought in that Hincapié, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but the dude from Bayer Leverkusen. There's just so much depth in that defense. And then even if you want Lewis Skelly moving into the midfield, and you have the midfield, you have Rice, Marino still, who's really a midfielder. We kind of forgot he was playing striker so much last season. With Marino in there, Zubimendi in there, Odegaard still. I know he's on fraud watch, but he's in there. Eze potentially in there. The Wanyeri kid was really a midfielder. He was just playing right wing last season. And then obviously they brought in the depth for Saka with Madueke. That Max Dauman kid, it looks exciting. Eze on the left, Martinelli on the left. I'm not saying all these players are top tier players, like Martinelli, Trossard, whatever. But and then still Gyökeres, Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is still putting 10 plus goals a season. Him coming behind Gyökeres, like, and really he's a midfielder too, if we really talk about it. I think the main issue with Arsenal last year was depth. And now I think they haven't increased their ceiling that much, like Gyökeres maybe, but the depth they've really addressed. So now if someone gets injured, I'm not like, if Odegaard, like how Odegaard got injured last year, I'm not thinking, oh my God, it's cooked. Like Eze comes in, I'm like, oh, they don't miss a beat. Now Saka gets injured, I think that's still massive. Madueke, I think the drop off from Saka to Madueke is more than people are talking about. As a Chelsea fan, I'm gonna tell you, Madueke, he ain't sniffing the Saka level, so let's not even talk about that. But the fact that they even have someone, they don't have to rely on an 18-year-old kid in Wanyeri. Even though Dauman probably still better than Madueke right now. But still, I think that depth is crazy. And maybe that'll mean more for the Champions League. I don't know, but I think Arsenal can push Liverpool for a title. But that being said, let's talk about it. Why is Liverpool? I think we all agree Liverpool is the favorites for the title, the championship. Any reasons why you think it's just maybe there's one massive one? How are you feeling?
Isak, Salah, Wirtz, if he unlocks his potential, proves his Premier League prowess. Van Dijk. I mean, the list goes on in the roster they've assembled. and they've proven their capability to compete. You know, they've undergone a change of manager. That didn't change anything. They won the league. So, you know, I just think they're armed and dangerous, as Winter Soldier would say.
Fair. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Winning the league and spending $500 million is just.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention the cost. Yeah,
yeah, I know we're talking about net spend now. All of a sudden, when Liverpool are the big spenders, we're net spend merchants.
Who's talking about net spend, bro? I haven't seen this.
I'm telling you, Sky Sports. All of a sudden, for like the first time in like 5 years, they all of a sudden pull up the net spend charts when Liverpool's the top spender. I'm telling you, this is propaganda, bro. Liverpool are like the Premier League darling. Look, 4 days ago, like, bro, I'm telling you, this is just propaganda, bro. I'm telling you. When Chelsea are the big spenders, when United are the big spenders, when City are the big spenders, it's just they just talk about the flat numbers.
And they convert it to dollars in the US, like Bleacher Report and shit. Like, bro, you don't need to be doing that. Like,
unnecessary, bro. Unnecessary.
The agenda is crazy.
Now all of a sudden we're talking about net spend. So Liverpool, they're talking about it's not that good. Also, speaking of
club energy, man,
Chelsea made a profit. I ain't gonna lie, over the summer, which is crazy.
Can we also talk about Nicholas Jackson and the Bayern president being like, yeah, like there is a buyout clause if he plays like 60 games, but that will definitely not be happening.
Which it should.
Imagine the team you just transferred to says at the beginning of the season, criminal. We don't want him here. We don't want him.
Absolutely criminal. I feel bad for the guy because he's not that bad. Like, he's not bad in period. He's
and raw. They were dying for that transfer too. Bro, they were working hard. The brother was posting like, yeah,
desperate. Yeah, that's spooky season. I'm sorry for it. You know, he might still have a career in like La Liga, back to La Liga, whatever. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's spooky for you. It's spooky. But Liverpool, like you said, for me, their depth isn't as crazy as Arsenal, but their top end talent, like the people you mentioned, we're talking about arguably the best striker, the best right winger, the best center back, best keeper, arguably the best. I think Caicedo or Rodri, but some people argue Gravenberch in there for like defensive midfielder. People are not going to argue he has to prove it, but people are going to argue Verts for best creative midfielder. So we're talking about the best in nearly half the team in the league, which is crazy level. This is like peak City levels, where like City had like the best player in every position. This is what we're talking about. If they don't win the league, honestly, it's a failure. I'm not gonna lie to you. Y'all gotta win at least 2 trophies. We're talking about a domestic double at least. Really treble,
quarterfinals, Champions League at least,
semi minimum.
Sure,
you got to, because if we're talking about the best teams in Europe, only I think PSG, Barca, Madrid. You still always got to talk about them, but really, these are the only teams that should be really giving you a run for your money. So if you get knocked out in the round of 16 again, or even the quarters, I'm not gonna lie, unless you get a really unlucky draw, that's one thing, but I'm not gonna lie, it's looking spooky for y'all. You just dropped after breaking the transfer record and buying Ekitike for almost 100 million, who is looking insane. You went and broke the transfer record again. Like, come on, bro. There's no excuses. You need to win. You need to win at least 2 trophies. So there it is. That's probably the difference maker for them winning the title, but. It's looking like it's going to be a fun race. I'm not going to lie. Because even if we're talking about performances, you talked about Arsenal. And the reason why they're looking like reason why you put them third is like the performances aren't convincing.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about Liverpool, their performances haven't been convincing. But here's the difference. If you look at the table like you just pulled up, they have 9 points. So it doesn't matter. They haven't been clicking and they still get the results. That's a championship winning side. Because usually not every championship winning side is flying every day, winning 4 or 5-0. They've been conceding a lot of goals. But if you get the result in the end of the day, that's the difference between them and Arsenal. It's already a 3-point gap at the beginning of the season. That could extend. immediately. So because if they start clicking, they bring in Isak, and then all of a sudden they're flying. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's looking spooky for the rest of the league. But if we go back to the table, is there any in those mid-table teams? Are there anyone you feel like the order you're not feeling, like 8 to 12, 13 to 17th? Any order?
Nah, I feel like when we went through it, that's the order I would keep it as. Yeah, I feel kind of confident in that.
Same.
I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I have a soft spot for them. Brighton's a little low for me, but I also think it's reasonable. I think in those teams, it could really go.
It's a toss up. It's a toss up. You know?
The only thing was Forest. It seemed like they had a lot of drama with their manager recently.
A lot.
I don't know. So I don't know if that could end up having some ramifications later on if he ends up leaving. And I think also, let's go back to the current table because I haven't really kept up with the results. Okay, they're 10th, 1-1-1. Okay, that's not too bad. But I think last year they caught people by surprise. I think it's hard to do that back-to-back years. So people might have kind of figured out, like, okay, they're a transition team. Let's just sit back on them. And they lost Alanga. Chris Wood's a year older. He started the season well. I'll give him that, but he's a year older. I don't know. Forest aren't as convincing to me in that spot. Yeah. I wouldn't mind sliding them back a bit. But I think those three teams, Forest, Bournemouth, Brighton, I think all those are kind of interchangeable.
I think I would be fine moving Brighton up ahead of Forest.
And then keeping Forest in that order.
And honestly, maybe having Forest go down behind Bournemouth.
I don't mind that. It really does depend on their manager situation, but I think Brighton and Bournemouth are more solid in their managers, and they both have good managers too. So, and then swap Everton and United for me.
Hell no! Gotta be a bit delusional.
Yeah, no, I respect it. But there we go. That is the official Rip the Net 2025-2026 Premier League prediction table with everything's in the books, transfers done. Now we see how it plays out. And at the end of the season, we're going to come back and we're going to do a little. I know every year the creators in the scene, they do a little, they rank their predictions based on there's a system they have, based on how many places you are out is points you get. So you want to have the lowest score possible. We're going to throw our hat in the ring, bro. At the end of the season, we're going to see how well we did. Exactly. Good little emote there. You're playing a lot of Fortnite. So there we go. That's our official prediction. Any last thoughts before we head out? I didn't think so. Appreciate you guys for watching. As always, subscribe, all that good algorithm stuff would be much appreciated. I hope you guys are enjoying some of this more fun, tier list World Cup content. We had fun doing it. And we brought back the sneakers this week, brought back the wrestling, NBA coming soon. We're bringing back, I know there's been a lot of soccer recently. Yeah, I ain't mad at that, but we're bringing back some more diversity to the topic. So I hope that's exciting for you guys. But as always, appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. See ya.
Peace out, y'all. Take care.